Hello and welcome to another edition of the Bastard Review. This time around I'm looking at ECW's Hardcore Heaven 99. This event took place May 16th, 1999 in the Mid-Hudson Civic Center in Poughkeepsie, New York. We start off the night as always with Joey Styles in the ring, but before he could say anything, Chris Candido comes down and announces that nobody's going to jump his back, namely Taz, because he has two new bodyguards, Bubba Ray and Devon Dudley. They come out with their whole entourage, and then moments later, Taz comes out. He takes down the Dudleys with a dual clothesline, and then he gets into the ring and calls for the bell. And I guess we get the main event at the beginning of the show, which doesn't really make sense to me. And what we get, in essence, is a 3-minute match that I'm not even going to bother to rate. It was a stupid way to open up the show, and it was just a throwaway title match. I hope something happens later on in the night that comes about from this segment, but I kind of doubt it will. Afterwards, Bubba Ray gets on the mic and starts talking about all the people that the Dudleys have taken out and challenges anyone with the balls to come out and face them. Well, of course, Balls Mahoney comes out, and then he's joined shortly afterwards by Spike Dudley, and I guess we get another impromptu match. I'm assuming this is for the titles, but they never announce it either prior or during the match. So if it is, it's anyone's guess. I can't say I enjoyed this match. There were a few comedy spots which really didn't work for me. I mean, the Dudleys cut a pretty serious promo, and then 5 or 10 minutes later, they're using Spike as a hot potato between them and Balls. It felt like a very badly booked match. There was just no rhyme or reason to it, and I don't buy Balls and Spike as a relevant team against the Dudleys. I'm going to give this a 4 out of 10. After that, we get Super Crazy taking on Taka Michinoku. This was a pretty good match. I was expecting another match between Tajiri and Super Crazy, because they still have to have their rubber match, and this would have been the perfect place to do it. In my eyes, Taka seems a league below Super Crazy. I think it's because at the time he was used to working the WWF form of wrestling and not the quick-paced fly-by-the-seat-of-your-pants form that ECW made famous. Super Crazy also shows how green he is here, because when they get back from doing a dive spot into the crowd, Taga is limping on his left foot. Super Crazy takes advantage of that by attacking his foot and his knee, but he doesn't follow up with it. A quick-thinking, smart wrestler would transition from attack into submission, and he would put in a figure 4 or a Boston Crab. But Super Crazy doesn't do this. He reverts back to his lucha roots and starts going high risk, which is a mistake because you're giving your opponent a chance to come back. So yeah, this match shows that he has a lot to learn about crafting a match, but it's still a pretty good outing. And I was mildly entertained watching it. I'm going to give this a 6 out of 10. Up next, we get Little Guido taking on Yoshihiro Tajiri. This was just another okay match. There really wasn't anything going in to make me excited for it. Both wrestlers are competent in the ring, but there aren't really any spots that stand out as, oh my god, that was amazing, you have to see. There was some unnecessary interference on behalf of Sally Graciano. To me, somebody should only interfere when the person you're interfering on behalf of is losing the upper hand. You know, if they're beating down the person, there's really no need for interference. This match felt like it should have been on hardcore television. I'm going to give this a 6 out of 10. After that, Lance Storm takes on Tommy Dreamer in a grudge match. This is your average hardcore brawl. They beat the crap out of each other. Tommy Dreamer gets busted open. He gives Lance a really nice looking Spicoli driver off the second ropes into a table. This match doesn't really cater to Lance's style of wrestling, but he manages to get some impressive offense in, and the end of the match is pretty believable. I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. Now this is more like it. Jerry Lynn takes on Rob Van Dam for the ECW World Television title. This was the second time that they've faced each other. The first time at Living Dangerously went to a 30-minute draw, I think. I really need to find that and watch it because I heard it's a phenomenal match. And if that is a phenomenal match, this is just as good, if not a little bit better, because it's got a no time limit stipulation. Now I'm going to warn you right now, if you're not a fan of spot heavy matches, you're not going to like this. There's a little bit of mat based going on. At the very beginning they have a series of moves that they try to hit that they outdo each other, pretty much trying to gain the upper hand. It's really impressive and really well put together. Some of the highlight spots of the match: Lynn does a sunset flip into a powerbomb. Then he does another sunset flip into a powerbomb, sending RVD into a table. RVD does a running clothesline dive over the guardrail into Lynn, who is sitting in one of the first row chairs. He also does a corkscrew guillotine leg drop from the mat to Lynn, who is situated on the guardrail. Painful looking, to say the least. I have to say, my favorite close pin, Lynn goes towards RVD in the corner. RVD, I think, just hits him and drives Lynn back. He turns around momentarily and Bill Alfonso is on the mat. Fonzie throws the chair at Lynn. Lynn takes a swing at Fonzie. RVD goes for a spinning heel kick on Lynn, but Lynn ducks, sends the chair into RVD's stomach, and then throws it at Fonzie. And then Lynn gives RVD a German suplex into a bridge for the count. It was just an incredibly flawless set of moves, one right after another, that just flowed into the cover. And when Lynn went for it, the crowd went wild, and up until this point, Lynn was getting mixed reactions from some people because RVD is their favorite, obviously. But when he did that move, for the short second, the fans were on their feet cheering for him to get the pin. It was just a really great moment. There were a few botches, but nothing really major to take away from the overall quality of the match. Another gripe that I have is that it didn't really build up during the pay-per-view at all. They showed a segment earlier in the night, but they didn't cut any promos and they didn't really build it up into the major event that it should have been. In fact, this should have been the main event of the night. Just a great match between two phenomenal wrestlers. I'm giving this a 9 out of 10. Up next, Just Incredible takes on Sid Justice. Talk about a retarded match. Let me get this straight. This ends in a no contest when Lance comes out and interferes, attacking Sid. But just moments earlier, Jason had attacked Sid as well. Why wasn't the match called then? Honestly, this isn't a match. It's a segment designed to bring back Sabu because he was banned from competing by the Pennsylvania State Athletic Commission. I'm not going to rate it because it's hardly a match. It's just a freaking waste of time. It shouldn't be on the pay-per-view. Finally, we come to the main event. All through the night, the Dudleys had been attacking people backstage, going off a supposed list that Joel Gertner had given them after he had been blinded by a fireball from Balls Mahoney in the opening match. Just really a waste of time, and out of it we get this match. Bubba Ray Dudley takes on Taz in a Falls Count Anywhere match for the ECW Heavyweight title. It was an alright match. They went all over the arena. There wasn't really anything that stands out to me or makes this a worthwhile title match or main event. They just could have done a whole lot better. I'm going to give this a 6 out of 10. Overall, ECW's Hardcore Heaven 99 is a barely above average pay-per-view. There's one match that you really have to see, but the rest of the card is barely above average. Honestly, they should have cut most of the Dudley segments and built some of the other matches up. ECW compilers will want this for their collection, but if you're just a casual fan, I recommend the Lynn RVD match, and that's it. I'm giving this a 6 out of 10. Thank you for listening. Please tune in again to another Bastard Review when I review another wrestling DVD in my collection or anything else that crosses my path.